You told me a story, which I've heard this story many times, that if you take 10 people that are non-photographers and you show them 10 photos and 2 of them are HDR, they're going to pick the HDR ones
Every time. Yeah.
over the right. But if you take the same 10 photos and you go see 10 professional photographers, they'll hate the HDR ones and they'll
Yes.
love the natural thing, right? Anyways, I work for Yellow Corner. In case you don't know what that is, there's 120 galleries around the world, everywhere on the planet. They just opened one in Palm Springs, they opened one in Chicago, New Jersey, but it's all over Paris and Asia. And they said, we want you to go to Italy and make a whole series of photo called Viva Italia of Venice, Florence. So I spend $10,000. I fly to Italy in 1 month shooting. I send the photos to the galleries and I don't hear back. I'm like, I just spent $10,000 in 1 month of my life doing these photos. Who are you? Because you wanted them. And no answer. I keep answering. And he says, come and see me. So the CEO of the galleries, amazing guy, Alexandre Mes, like, they have the biggest art gallery network in the world. Now, Yellow Corner is now the #1 sellers of photos on the planet. It says, let me show you the best-selling photos that we have had all time. So he shows me his photo. He says, that photo we made millions and millions of dollars with. And he starts telling me, like, I love your HDR stuff. Like, you're your scary placement and all the stuff you used to do years ago. Why did you stop? And I tell him the whole Peter Leak story. He's like, I don't care about Peter Leak. This is the best-selling photo of all time for us. Like, I couldn't believe how much millions of dollars we made with that photos.
Now, I think that's a straight out of camera.
Exactly.
It was a weird day that day. All the balloons and the.
Yeah, it's a straight out camera.
Yeah, I mean, this has been, photoshopped to death, obviously.
Yeah. And he rejected all my photos. He says, look, I want your photos to stand between the dream and reality. He says, everybody's got a photographer. People, when they come to my galleries, if they think they can take the photo, they won't buy it. It has to be like, you have to make something that's between the reality and the dream. So I reprocessed 10 photos. I can show them really quick for him in that spirit. So what I did is, so this is a shot that I was in Giza in January and I didn't have that sky. So I went to Luminar. When I have to do like really crazy stuff, I always go to Luminar and Aurora. So I did a bit of Aurora, a bit of Luminar. Then I did this one. I did a bit of scary placement, a bit of Aurora. Like, I just went crazy. He wants crazy. This is crazy. This is the Rialto Bridge meeting the Rialto Bridge. So it's a complete illusion. But he loved it. It was, yeah, it's going to sell a lot. This is like, when somebody sends me that, I do a lot of teaching and say, that's all processed. But that's what he wanted. And I couldn't believe it. So this is a bit of Aurora. That's Positano, Amalfi Coast, Mont Saint-Michel.
Ooh,
A little
Mont
bit of
Saint-Michel.
Aurora to make it, a little punchy. Lapin Gilles. They just
Yep.
repainted it, by the way.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, orange. Yeah, it used to be like brown. Now it's orange. This is a version. Okay, that's the same view. That's the natural drama. That's how I used to do it. And that's how he wanted me to do it. I added the birds from Luminar. That's the Luminar birds.
Really? The Luminar birds.
The Luminar birds and the
The
thing.
Luminar birds.
And look, that's what the boss says. That's why he's the one selling. So I don't like when people respond to my work by saying, did you do something to it, as the first emotional reaction? But if it sells,
But you like the check that comes.
I like to check. It reminds me of the story about Alfred Hitchcock. This very famous story. A journalist interviews him and says, you're accused a lot of, doing very commercial movies. So because Alfred Hitchcock back in the 50s was blockbusters. Like, that's what blockbusters used to be. Like, he was the most selling artist at the time. And are you not offended that, you're being accused of not being artsy enough, too commercial enough? And then Alfred Hitchcock answers, you know what? I cry when I go to the bank to cash my checks.